And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that short break here as we have returned with our next series with our second matchup of the night. We just casted HonMonO take down Su 2-0, and now we're getting into a TVP. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have one of the favorites for this entire tournament, for this entire weekly. It is the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the South Korean Terran living in the land of Japan, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. Going for a proxy. Here we go. And again, HonMonO, something important to bear in mind is that I would say that he looks strong, don't get me wrong. He looks strong against Su, but his best matchup is TVP. The reason why this is his best matchup, as he does get scattered. No, Classic, he does come across the proxy, shuts down the racks, and will be forced to cancel. Brutal moment here for HonMonO. I was gonna say that HonMonO, the reason why he's terrifying in this matchup is because he's so aggressive. He 1 base all-ins, 2 base all-ins, proxies, does crazy stuff, difficult to keep up with. But alas, he has a reputation. And Classic, he gets on top of that building building eBay will deny it, throws down his Nexus on location. HonMonO's opener has been kind of thrown to the wayside here. It is in shambles. Classic having a very strong start in our first game. In game number 1 here, again, HonMonO stumbling out of the gates and is going to have to try to recover. We do have a CC on the low ground. It's going to be a Rax expand transition, Marine first, limited scouting. HonMonO, he is forced to come back home with that SCV. No Reaper either. Stuck at home. Bunker is on the way, and Classic can do whatever he wants from here. Classic is very comfortable back at home. And again, Classic is one of the best Protosses in the world. He's second best Protoss in all of South Korea. Unfortunately, Classic did not make the cut for IEM Katowice, but the saving grace is that does mean he can be here back at home to compete in ESL Open Cup Asia. And really, that's what matters. That's what matters most. Big shout out to Asheri in the chat, subscribing 17 months, 12 months in a row. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for subscribing. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Gracias. And meanwhile, I spoke about Classic doing whatever he wants. Robo opener here. Very defensive opener, actually. Interesting. So again, HonMonO has a reputation. So Classic, this is basically a hard counter to a 3-Rax. If HonMonO was 3-Raxing, Classic would shut it down. We can see that it's going to be a 1-1-1 transition out of HonMonO. Classic doesn't know that, but he's just setting up defensively nonetheless. The reason why I say this is a defensive opener out of Classic, no Stargate, no Twilight Council, as he's being aggressive with these handful of units. This means no Blink, no Phoenixes. He can't really harass, he can't really threaten his opponent with too much. He is in his face with a handful of Gateway units, as he otherwise would be, but the follow-up isn't really there. With a fast Robo, that means fast Robotics Bay, that means fast Colossus production. We could even go into a fast Disruptor as well. It does mean we're going to have a terrifying army leading into the mid-game, but we won't have much of a presence on the map until the mid-game. Oh, good control. Oh my god, Classic escapes with the Adept as well. Does manage to barely shade away, trading so damn well. Picks off 3 Marines, but the Cyclone has arrived, and the Cyclone should shut this down. Oh, can we get the Adept? Oh, we barely do not. Adept shades back in towards the main base. Do we get a scout off? We get eyes on another Rax on the way. Now, that is a big tell. If it was a 3-Rax, we would have already seen... I mean, there would not be a Rax in production because they would already be done. Seeing this Rax tells us that if there was a factory and a starport. So Classic, really good scout, will deduce what the opener was, will deduce what's coming out. I mean, he already saw the Cyclone. He already saw the Cyclone anyway, so he's aware of what's going on. Taking a third base and building up Colossi. First one is on the way. And by the time HonMonO pushes out, we're going to have 2. We're going to have 2 Colossi already, maybe even 3. The Stargate is an odd choice though. I'm caught a little bit off guard. Stargate is on the way after the Robo and after the Twilight Council. This is very tech heavy here for Classic. It looks like Classic maybe wants to rush into Skytoss. I'm feeling a fast fleet beacon. We've seen Classic do this before, specifically on Alcyone. Now, the reason why I say this map is large. It's big, it's huge, very defendable, very difficult to break this location, especially with 2 Colossi. Like, because we have so many Colossi so quickly, we can't push into this. We cannot break this 3rd base, so we can afford to tech up. Stargate is done. Phoenix is in production initially. Interesting choice here by Classic. Phoenixes, they can of course shut down drop play. Charge is on the way alongside those Colossi. And yeah, we're just, again, working with a very small army, but a very high quality army, just building up defensively. HonMonO, what are we up to? We do have a 3-1-1 setup, pretty standard setup here on 2 bases. From here, we can throw down a 4th and 5th racks. We can throw down a 3rd CC and build up towards a later game. Now, HonMonO, he is known for 2-base all-ins, but this isn't really the best setup. Never mind. I was going to say, this isn't really the best setup for a 2-base all-in, but let's go. We pull the boys because it's HonMonO. He does what he does best, okay? He's known for pulling the boys. You think he's going to go against his reputation, against his nature, against who he is? No, papi, no, he cannot push away, cannot redefine himself. It's all about the brand. It's all about pulling the boys. And here we go. Bunkers are on the way. Colossi are in position. We take down, oh my god, the first bunker, the first tank. Big force fields. Massive cash there from Classic. Takes down the first tank. Now we do have Disable. We do have that interference matrix available. 3 Colossi are available. The tanks stay on siege. They on siege. Massive swipes here on the Marines. Big trades here from Classic. We do get 1 Disable off on one of those Colossi. But we have 2 more left, and we are just shutting this down. Shaving off so many Marines, so many SCVs. 7 SCVs go down. And you can see how difficult it is to push into this position. The high ground, the ramp, the shield battery, the overcharge, the force fields. There's a reason why late game is preferred on Alcyone. GG gets called. Classic shuts HonMonO down. And Classic takes game number 1. GG, well played. Again, it was a rough start for HonMonO, a very safe opener for Classic, and you could see that, again, he built up those Colossi so very quickly, and specifically on that map, it's just so difficult to pull off all-ins, especially when your opponent is being that defensive. It feels like HonMonO played into the hands of Classic. Remember, Classic, he shut down the proxy, he shut down the eBay block, he played defensively against a would-be 2-base all-in. Classic just read HonMonO like a book. That's the downside when you're very stylistic, is that being stylistic also means that you're a little bit predictable, is the unfortunate reality here. Now, what I will say is that HonMonO has been spreading his wings. HonMonO has been, again, really approaching things in a newer light. In other matchups, less so this one though, but we'll see. We'll see if he can come back, as here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the red Protoss player, the South Korean Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player representing Team Hyper 1. Down in the series, looking to fight back. It is HonMonO. Ooh, and I like this more from HonMonO. So HonMonO, again, he has a reputation. He's known for cheesing. He's known for being aggressive, known for being all in. And he goes for a fake proxy racks. Now, Terrans, they have the ability, they have the option here in the early game of this matchup to throw down their racks at the natural, at the 3rd base location. Sometimes they throw it down further back in the main as well to hide the first racks, to try to force an overreaction from the Protoss player. That's the goal here, to force Classic to panic, to force Classic to open up defensively, and HonMonO can be greedy behind it instead. That's the goal, at least. The goal for HonMonO. Classic gonna be dipping into the main base does, of course, confirm the missing racks, does get eyes on both gases. You can see he's checking the main, he's checking the low ground third as well. He's looking for the racks, trying to figure out where it is, if it really is across the map. And he's going Zealot first. It's working. So far it is working. He is zoned away. Factory has been thrown down. And this first Zealot is necessary. If it was a proxy Rax, we would have a Reaper coming out, and we do need the first Zealot here to defend against the Reaper to minimize economic damage. So already a small win for HonMonO, as he forced out a Zealot that otherwise wouldn't have been made. Now we can see Classic, he's aware of what's been going on, he's aware that he's been duped, and he's sending that Zealot across the map. He's hoping to gain some value, some kind of value here with his first Zealot. Reaper in production, Probe tasing away at the wall. It's going to be a Rax expand. Interesting, despite the double gas opener, we're going for a faster CC, or I mean, say Rax. Rax into factory into expand. CC's on the way. Classic hasn't seen this yet. Zealot does dive in. We force a recall. The Zealot is going to be saved. Zealot does escape. Probe did fall. And we have our tech of choice back at home. Classic is going for a Stargate opener. He's going Stargate. With this, he can gain a lot of scouting information. He can harass, of course, with oracles, with adepts. I'm sorry, with adepts. With oracles, with phoenixes. Should be going Phoenix first, but we'll see if he does dabble in the oracle. If he decides to be a little bit more aggressive instead. Yeah, there it is. Phoenixes are in production. HonMonO back at home, getting into his 3-1-1 setup. 3 Raxes, 1 factory, 1 starport. Again, a pretty standard setup here on 2 bases. CC will soon be taken, and Classic doesn't really know what the follow-up is yet, but he soon will, as HonMonO is getting across the map with quite an army. Good target firing here on that Cyclone, sorry, on that Hellion. Hellion goes down, good target firing here on one of those Reapers. Good pickup as well, and how much damage do we get done? We get 2 probes. 2 workers here. As the Hellion can barely escape. Up! Barely does get away. Can't say the same for the Reaper. But overall, that was 3 Reapers, 1 Hellion for 2 probes. Not the best trade here for HonMonO, but what I will say, what was worth it, is scouting. HonMonO did see the Stargate. Of course, he saw the Phoenixes. He's aware of the Stargate opener. He's getting ready back at home. Marines are amassing. A Viking is already out. HonMonO, he's mentally prepared for the Phoenixes, but is he physically prepared? Is he in position? As we are committing to the shade. We dive here on the army. Phoenix is going ham here on the Marines. There's 2 Marines left. There's 1 Marine remaining, and it looks like we will barely hold on. Clutch repair there on the SCVs. Good unsiege from HonMonO. He does hold. Behind this, working towards Phoenix, I imagine Colossus. We have a safety immortal on the way. We should soon be seeing the Robotics Bay getting into Colossus production. Very standard play here from, or very standard follow-up from Classic. Very meta. There's the Bay, Phoenix, Colossus. Phoenixes are designed to shut down drop play. Colossus designed to shut down anything on the ground. The boys are being pulled. HonMonO, he's pushing here and now, but he does get spotted. SCVs are getting picked off. Phoenix is trying to slow down the all-in, trying to slow down the push. HonMonO very committed here. Luckily, Classic did make a safety immortal. Again, there are some players that skip this immortal just to be efficient, but Classic played it safe and it pays off. He has the immortal, the tank buster, the bunker buster itself. Can just chunk away at those bunkers and tanks if we can close the distance. Second immortal on the way. Shield battery finishes just in time. Big Volley's first bunker does go down. Oh, the Viking. First Viking does fall as well. Good pickoffs here by Classic. Doesn't lose anything yet. Disruptors on the way, not the Colossus. Bold move out of Classic. To go for the Disruptor. Nova has potential, that is true. Void Ray's on the way, just making whatever we can. Pylon is going to fall. We depower the Stargate. Big Nova does connect on those tanks. the repairs isn't going to be enough. It may just be big tank volleys here on the Immortals. Good target firing out of HonMonO. Good repair as well. Keeps the tank alive. HonMonO pushing towards the production. Void Ray just barely will come out. Cybercore falls. No more Stalkers. Void Ray takes a lot of damage. The Novas, oh no! There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run. Massive connections here on the Marines. HonMonO was doing so well. He was doing so well, but there was no escape, no medevacs, no pickups. Those are some beautiful connections, and that was 22 Marines going down. And now we can clean everything else up. HonMonO, he had potential. He had so much potential with the all-in. ... GG gets called the power of disruptors. And classic, he does take the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. That was so unfortunate. GG, well played. That was so unfortunate for HonMonO. Like, he was doing so well. He killed both Immortals. He killed the Cybercore. Did a lot of damage to the Void Ray. If it wasn't for those Novas, maybe HonMonO breaks his opponent. Maybe HonMonO breaks the natural. He would have had a chance. Regardless, he would have had a chance. But those were the juiciest Novas available, the juiciest Novas possible there for Classic. And with that, he will win this series. He will advance on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Classic as he does move on. And the question becomes, who will he face off in those semis? Exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat to have a look at the back of yourselves. Let us switch over. Let us figure out what has been happening